When I say that the charts tell you a lot, you can open up a ton of rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Now, those rabbit holes can be
Yeah.
fun sometimes to go down, but let me tell you, there's a couple of Pandora's boxes that I wish I would have kept closed.
Yeah.
I really wish I
I'm
would
sure you
have.
don't have the greatest outlook on our financial future here in the US.
Oh no, I've been saying certain things for a year, year and a half. Just because when you're looking at the higher time frame on the charts, when you're looking at the results of what happens over, let's say, the months,
Right.
the charts tell you they paint a picture.
Ziza connection. Today we're connecting with Michael Franz. Remember, go subscribe, drop a like on the video. It helps us out so much before we get into this conversation. But I have one of my favorite people here. And I mean people. I mean genuinely favorite people. Not that what you do specifically is something that I'm a fan of necessarily.
Mhm.
Not that I'm not a fan. But I'm saying you as a person, right?
I appreciate that.
That's really big reason why I wanted to have you on the show. The topic we're going to talk about today is Forex, generally speaking.
Okay.
Okay. And again, the fact that I respect you as a person so much is the reason I wanted to have you specifically on to talk about Forex.
Okay.
Because I know your integrity and I know the fact that you're going to be honest about what Forex is,
Yeah.
how to do it,
Okay.
and really what it takes to be successful trading in Forex.
Okay.
So why don't we jump like right on into this one real quick? Give us the breakdown on what Forex is, the 30-second.
So literally the easiest thing to say is that it's the foreign exchange market, right? So when you are exchanging, let's say, US dollars for euros, you're going over to a European country that supports the euro, you're going to get a specific amount back with a certain cost. That cost is the exchange rate. As that exchange rate changes, then yes, you can make money on that.
Okay.
Because you're literally buying into the market as it's going up, and you can make money as it's going down too, which is great because it's a little different than stocks, not stock options, but stocks, right? It's a little more volatile than the stock market.
Meaning that you have, what does volatile mean?
Volatile means the fact that your moves, okay, for example, your moves where scalpers might be in stocks could be like, let's say, the futures time frame. It's only like overnight, 12 hours, right?
Okay.
With the Forex market, your scalpers are going to hold trades for no longer than 7 minutes,
Okay.
right? So you're pretty much in and out of the market over and over and over again. Your price changes by the second. With your bank, you might actually see that the exchange rate changes twice a day, but it's literally changing by the second.
Got you.
Okay.
Okay.
So as those prices change, you're talking about a discounted price when the price comes down. So you can sell at a higher price when the value is a little higher, sell it down. Or as you see a higher demand coming in and you catch it at a low price, you can buy into it and then watch it move up, make your money.
So it's basically currency arbitrage.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So that's a good way to put it. So I know, and you know very well, there is a whole slew of different scams that people run related to Forex.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Now, with an industry as scam ridden as Forex can be, how does someone know that what they're paying for, the education that they're getting on Forex, for example? Because you don't learn how to trade Forex in college.
Right.
You don't go
Well,
to
there's
a
a reason
college
why.
class. Okay, go ahead.
The reason why they don't want to teach you what's really going to make you money.
Okay.
See, when you start into the Forex market, you start opening up doors and you start opening up, let's say, Pandora's box. Because when you follow the money, you start getting the truths in life. Let me tell you, there's a lot of things that I could sit here and we could talk about that I could literally tell you would happen. In fact, we've had conversations in the past.
You and I have, yeah.
Right?
Right.
We've spoken in the office when we used to go to the office when we were learning. And yeah, we were talking about the housing market. All that stuff is coming to fruition now.
That's
right?
true. Right.
I said that there's going to be a bubble crash here in probably the next year and a half or so, like completely. We're on the verge of that. Michael Burry. You know who Michael Burry is?
I don't.
Michael Burry is the guy that they made the movie The Big Short based on.
Oh, okay, cool.
So he's the successful investor from 2008 that bet on the housing market, right?
Right.
He came out a couple days ago and literally said, we are in the biggest financial bubble that is ready to burst, right? The charts tell me one thing. So when you can follow the technical moves, you can get your answers to a lot of questions. Like you can even see the difference between the presidency going from Donald Trump to Joe Biden. And you can see things that are based on COVID, right? That I can sit here and have conversations with people that aren't necessarily ready to hear them because they don't want to understand that what they've been done is to be programmed to be told something, right? So we're talking about a whole different situation here, but the charts can lead you to understanding a lot that goes in this economy.
So the charts tell us a story.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And within the charts, when you're marking up the charts, your charts are made up of candlesticks,
Okay.
and your candlesticks tell a story. So this way you can understand which way the market's going to go, up or down.
So
Right?
why is it so hard for people if what you're telling me is true, right?
Mhm.
About the charts tell you a story, each candlestick tells you a story. Why is it so difficult for people who are retail traders to make money in Forex? What makes it so hard to trade Forex effectively?
Great question. So there's one main variable that is involved with traders that can separate everybody. We're all using the same template, right? We can all pull up the same stock chart on tradingview.com. You can pull up the currency pair of that exchange rate. And you can say, okay, well, I'm going to change the exchange rate of the euro versus the USD, right? You're going to look at the same chart as me. I may see it a little differently, but we're seeing the same directions. So the one variable that's different is our psychology,
Okay.
right?
From what respect? How?
So if you're not disciplined enough within the market to be patient to wait for your entry,
Okay.
and you have what we refer to as FOMO, fear of missing out, you could get into a trade early and lose all your money, right? Greed is a form of an emotion. Like I'm greedy, right? If that's the case, I'm greedy. I'm going to go in and I'm going to put my whole account on one single trade. No, in this game, because of the way that it moves, your best bet is to compound your account. Start small, move up, right? You don't want to jump into a pool without knowing how to swim and not have a life jacket on.
Right.
You don't want to jump in the deep end.
Right.
Well, see, so a lot of people, when they hear about this, and this is where you're talking about the scams, right? Scams a lot are sold on how I can make you money really quick,
Let me change your life this week.
right?
Right.
So everybody wants to trade the all famous US 30,
Right.
right? The US 30 is the Dow Jones market value. It's the index for the Dow Jones market.
So
it's the
basically it's the index for the top 30 companies.
right, but the value of them. So you're not
Right.
buying into stocks, you're just trading the value, right?
Right.
But the payout on it is absolutely ridiculous. A lot of people make a lot of money on it, but I can tell you there's more people that are losing money. They're just not saying it.
Right. The house
Right.
always wins.
Well, it's supposed to.
Okay.
It's supposed to. That's why you don't try to beat the house.
Okay. What is the mentality?
The mentality is you need to move with the house,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Meaning, get onto the side and start understanding the structure and be humble enough to understand that you're never going to beat the market. You're never going to beat the market. You can only do what it does. That's as good as you're ever going to get, right? So when people think that they have that arrogance of that they can beat the market, then they're going to start gambling. There's a risk management process to this whole thing that will create discipline, and it creates a sound mind in trading. If you don't have that, then you're unsuccessful. I can already tell.
So this whole facade of like the wild west of finance where you can like make a grip real quick, change your life overnight, that's not how you do Forex. That's not
Nope.
how you do this.
Nope, unless you're taking signals, which that's not even guaranteed. So if you don't even want to know how to trade on your own and become independent, you could take signals, which is where a trader will give out a trade. But if you don't understand what you're going to be getting into, why would you ever want to put your money on that?
Right.
Right?
Right.
If you want to take the risk, but you have no process of actually being able to come back at me for that if you didn't want to learn, right? Signal takers are signal takers. That's why there's always like current, what is it, the phrase like current success does not lead to
Future.
or it does not mean you're going to get the same future returns or
Right.
anything like that, something like that.
Right.
There's always that disclaimer,
Right.
right? Because the market can do whatever it wants. You just try to be on the right side of it, right? So when you've got people like, for me, when you got people that are out here just flashing everything, those are the ones that are exposing themselves.
It's a quick telltale for you.
Right. That either the money's coming from somewhere else, they got lucky, or
You're making the money on the signals you're selling people.
right.
Right.
And signals don't always hit.
Right.
Let's be real. Signals don't always hit.
Right.
You're gonna have some good,
So-
you're gonna have some bad.
So why not be someone who half-asses the learning process? Like, you learn enough, you learn some, you know what you're looking at,
Mhm.
and then take signals and pick the signals that you think are going to, is that like a viable strategy? Let me learn enough and then take signals from someone to kind of assess the signals.
For me, no. This is a everyday thing. There's a phrase that we always say, and it stuck with me since I started the whole thing. It's like, you're a student always, right?
Right.
Now, the company that uses that, a lot of people start out with,
Right.
right? But then they start tending to move on.
Right.
They move on to something different, a better service, a more community-driven service, etc. That's not so big.
Right.
But it's a true statement. You're a student always, every day. You're a student in the game. So I may be an educator where I can teach you how to read a chart. I can teach you what goes on fundamentally within this country about where our currency is going to go.
Right.
But I'm not successful on 100% of my trades.
Right. Right.
Right?
100%.
If you have somebody that says it's 100%, then you're probably going to find a lie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people build that, and that's why they go in on, let's say, Instagram or Facebook, they start flashing the cars, they start flashing all the private jets, this, that, and the other.
They don't want
Right?
to, they don't want to trade anymore. They want people to pay them for being a trader.
Oh yeah, they could do that too. And then you've got, well, I'm coming out with my course type situation, right? Now, it's hard to decide which course everybody wants to take because everybody's got a course,
Right.
right? For me, I like to base anything that I'm a part of based on the community,
Okay.
right? I like to drive the community camaraderie,
Okay.
right? Because this game can be a very lonely game. And when you talk about half-assing something, you can't half-ass this. You're either going to learn it or you're not. Because it's either going to spark something in you that's going to that you're going to have an interest to say, well, why did I lose this trade? And then you go find out why. Now you're actually on the path to learning. Or you just give up and leave the market and just trust the signals or something like that.
So last week I had a producer on the show.
Okay.
And he said something profound that reminds me of what you just said, where he was like, look for people who are looking for questions, not for answers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a similar thing. You know, if you start taking trades and you start asking questions about why this happened or that happened, then you know that it's something you want to do.
Yeah. The unfortunate, well, I'm not going to say it's unfortunate. But when I say that the charts tell you a lot, you can open up a ton of rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Now, those rabbit holes can be
Yeah.
fun sometimes to go down. But let me tell you, there's a couple of Pandora's boxes that I wish I would have kept closed.
Yeah.
I really wish I would
I'm sure
have.
you don't have the greatest outlook on our financial future here in the US.
Oh, no, I've been saying certain things for a year and a half. Just because when you're looking at the higher time frame on the charts, you know, when you're looking at the results of what happens over, let's say, the months,
Right.
the charts tell you, they paint a picture. I actually say when I'm marking up a chart, that's me being an artist. That's me being Michelangelo or Leonardo, right? I'm going to use these lines, I'm going to use these boxes, etc.
Tell
This
me
is
a
what I see,
story,
right? Well, they paint a story that shows where we could be going here in the future, and it's the
not
higher the
moving,
time
yeah.
frame, the stronger the move.
Yeah.
And then when you see that strong move, you're like, what really could push what's going on?
In the or what could be strong enough to reverse what's happening right now?
Right.
Like, you'd have to see some crazy shit happen for things to change course and go the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I could have if people were really curious and the topic of COVID wasn't so emotional,
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that I could say, but I've said them to some people and they get offended. And
I think
understand
you and I
why.
have had some private conversations
Mhm.
about that in the past.
We have.
Nothing super in detail, but I think you and I are on the same page,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't know the charts like you know the charts. I know enough, like I was just talking about
Right.
bullshit.
Right.
I know enough to be able to at least understand what I'm looking at. I'll say that much.
Right. But where's your trading career now?
I don't have one.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Right.
why you can't half-ass it, right?
Right. 100%.
You made that decision for you for right
True.
now.
100%.
It's something that you have an interest in, and you can always come back. That's the
Right.
beautiful thing. Once you gain that interest and the time to be able to put it into your schedule, it's always going to be there. The market's going to be there.
Right. That's true.
You don't always have to be in it, but you always have to stay up on everything before you start taking advantage of what needs to happen as far as making trades.
Right. So where I was going was saying, like, I had a I guess a political frame of reference shift at the end of 2019 and early 2020.
Okay.
And a lot of it had to do with a lot of the conversations that we would have in the office, a lot of the things that we all used to talk about with regard to where things are going and why it looks like such and such is happening with the economy, with the housing market, with X, Y, and Z. And it really does. It's, again, that Pandora's box. It opens your eyes up. Oh, we lost the live. It opens your eyes up to, again, really what you're being told is going on versus what is actually going on.
Yeah.
So from that respect, I think we're on the same page.
Yeah. And that's where some of those conversations come into place. And I'm the type that I care about people in general, right? There are times that I may seem like an asshole, right? But
you're just straight up. You're not an asshole.
That's the thing. I try to be as straight up as possible,
right,
as diplomatic as possible, and as fair as possible.
Right.
But if you ask me for my honest opinions and my truths, I will give them to you. But that's not for you to judge me on or for you to take on yourself. I like to have free thinking conversations. I like to have conversations with people that think independently and not follow the masses, right? Because I was told something from a friend of mine when we were talking about psychology.
Okay.
And when you think of the word television,
right,
break that down into 3 different pieces. You can see that anything on your screen tells a vision. Right? So CNN is going to tell you something that they want you to know.
Right.
Fox is going to tell you something that they want you to know. Right? All the details you need to know are out there, but they're going to tell you only part of what they want you to know. So then this way you can favor it in some aspect, right? Well, that's harmful as well because it's literally programming people.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
100%.
So I take TV now with a grain of salt. I love TV. I love watching my games.
Try to take multiple grains of salt with it.
You have to. You have to. But it's like, damn, you're so powerful. You can do so much good, but you can do so much bad. And you have no control over it.
Right.
The TV itself has no control over it. The people that run it do.
Right.
And it's those people that, I mean, you got to think, like, do I really want to trust
what you're telling me?
Exactly.
Or the story you're trying to tell me?
Exactly. And a lot of people do that right off the bat.
A quote to live by, at least for me, it's not what you're being told, it's who's telling you it that matters.
Exactly.
It's like with advice. It doesn't matter what the advice is. What matters is who's giving you that advice.
Major facts.
Yeah. So you're speaking truth to my ears from what I'm saying. Now, you just brought up enjoying having free thinking conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are certain presuppositions that have to exist for a conversation to actually be a conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things that I'm trying to battle with this podcast is this culture around what a conversation is, which is basically people picking up like a link from Google that supports their claim and dropping that in the comments on someone's Facebook post and then going back and forth about why you're wrong. Here are my receipts. Right. What are some of the things that you've recognized in conversations with people that make it a real conversation?
Well, the biggest thing is when people respond after, like, you could tell when somebody's really listening to you because they're going to respond intricately to you, right? Okay. What I mean by that is they're gonna take time to process what you said and ask you a question based upon that, right? Most people these days, they listen to respond rather than listen to understand.
Okay.
Right? So immediately when somebody is told something I don't know how this got to this point, but people allow it to affect them emotionally. So then they completely push aside any fact that's being given to them, and they respond on the emotion that they're going off of.
Right.
That's and in that case, the conversation isn't going to become a conversation. It could become an argument, right?
Two very distinct things.
Exactly.
Right.
You've just taken a whole left turn, and now arguments are started, right? And I think that's where a lot of like relationships, even individual relationships, right? When you're in a relationship, if there's a battle for supremacy instead of looking for equality, right? You're you're going to listen to that person to react. Oh, I'm just wait. I need to come at them like you've just lined up the bullets in your brain, right? Boom, 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 boom. Here I go. I'm going to respond. And you're going to get it out regardless.
Right.
That's not healthy.
No. Right.
To sit down and be like, "Hey, let's have this conversation." Like it would be interesting for me to have a conversation with somebody where based, being political, right? Anybody that has this supreme Joe Biden side and Donald Trump side, like let's have a conversation with
Either
them.
extreme. Either extreme.
Right, either extreme. And
Right.
it was a big topic last year, but it was all based on emotion, right?
Mhm.
Now, I'll be honest with you, I didn't vote.
Okay.
Because I don't support racists or pedophiles.
Right.
And I feel allegedly, I'm not gonna call, whatever you want to say.
Based on your own personal
Right.
research, what you believe.
I've seen things, I've read things, etc. And both of them are both of those
things. Okay.
I don't support those.
Okay.
But I could tell you that for our economy, what would have been better is to have Donald Trump in office. Now, that's not me giving a feeling of emotion. That's just me saying, based on the facts of what I'm seeing now, guess what? I'm curious if anybody has changed their minds after the first 6 months now, because they've seen that all these promises that were made are not coming through. So that's what I'm saying. Like that type of conversation is going to be an emotional one where a lot of people won't have the conversation, or it ends quickly because they're emotional and then they're looking to react.
Why would they know? Let's take the Biden supporter, for example,
Okay.
who voted for Biden, wanted Biden in office
Mhm.
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Whether you actually believed he was the better option or you just vehemently disagreed with everything Donald Trump did because he was Donald Trump.
Right.
Okay. Whatever your prerogative was.
Right.
Why would someone who's already won, per se, want to have a conversation with you about what's going on now? Because what they wanted has already happened. What they wanted has already come true. Their candidate is in office now.
True.
So what is the point of them having a conversation now?
Well, because if it'd be somebody that would have been affected emotionally. We had a lot of emotions running in 2020 over a lot of different things.
Whole slew of them.
Right.
Right.
So for me, I feel that this whole campaign was all based on emotion, period.
Agreed.
Right. So if I were to have somebody right in front of me that would be that extreme supporter, because a lot of the things that he promised on hasn't even been, he's done other things that have taken precedence over things that he promised.
Right.
Then it's like, okay, can you see this? Now I'm curious how you feel, because if you did what you did based on emotion, what would you do based on the fact now? Would you change that? But then at that point, people will feel attacked.
Yep.
Right?
You're trying to call him a liar.
Right. And that's not the case. It'd be just curiosity because I'm a conversationalist.
Right.
Right. And then if they were in turn, why should I have done this? Well, I'll tell you why, or I'll tell you what my views are. We could have this equally back and forth. That's the whole thing. It's understanding each other.
Right.
But then you start getting the attitudes involved. Then you start getting the feelings involved. Then you feel the attacks. And that's what I said. It goes from a conversation to an argument. And especially when we talk about taboo topics like
Politics, for example.
Politics, religion, etc.
Right.
They're all taboo topics. I actually host a show. Well, not a show, but a class with the current platform I'm on, the Bank Zone.
Okay.
Right? I'm on two of them. I'm on the Bank Zone. I'm on Island Vibes.
And these are trading platforms.
These are trading platforms.
Okay.
But I host a class. The last one we did lasted 4 hours. 4 hours. But it's a place where I open it up. It's a free speech class. That's what we call it. and it's a place to open up and let people try to understand where you're coming from, and you need to understand where other people are coming from. The interesting thing is that when you become a forex trader and you start seeing these things through the weeds, it was funny how so many people agreed with the same things that I was seeing just because they saw the charts the same way.
Right.
It's like, okay, cool, I'm not alone in this now. That's why it's good to have a community as well, right? But we have this free speech class so you can come to a non-judgmental platform. Let's have a conversation. I don't care how taboo your question is. If somebody's on this call going to be offended, you need to go, because sometimes there's a raw, uncut version, because not everything needs to be sugar coated all the time.
Agreed.
Just ask the question and let's dissect the question into an answer.
Right.
Right.
Right. And you guys do this for what purpose? Well, what does that have to do with trading?
Well, because when you can, like I said, see through the weeds and you can understand the charts and eliminate the emotion. Eliminating emotion is the biggest thing you have to do within the charts. Okay? Because you're going to have money involved in it. When you see that money fluctuating every couple of seconds, it can cause you to be real happy at one time. It can be real sad at another.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So you're going to have a roller coaster of emotions. A lot of people join because and start this because they actually like that roller coaster. And then as they become successful, they start seeing their profits. Now, this is a market that is going nowhere. Nowhere. So you can trade this. It's recession proof. It's depression proof. Because there's always going to be currency exchanged. Something's always going to be up. Something's always going to be coming down. Right? But emotion is the biggest thing that separates everybody outside of psychology. But they go hand in hand with each other.
Right.
Your psychology is going to put you into an emotional state. And that emotional state will cause you then to think psychologically a different way.
Right.
Every time, because you're trying to react. So they go hand in hand. If you can control the psychology, control your emotions, you can be very successful in this realm.
So the idea with this class
Mhm.
is if you can teach people to have open conversations with other people about things that they're uncomfortable with,
Mhm.
then maybe they can have conversations with themselves about things they might be uncomfortable with.
For their emotion and psychology, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Specifically.
Right.
Because if you can understand and the picture is painted right in front of you and you can understand what you're seeing, you can then control that emotion. Right? So if you start seeing through any of the smoke in the mirrors, whatever you want to call it, right? And you start seeing things for the truth, you can base a better decision on that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you can see through what is going on in this economy, you can see how we're being treated, how we're looked at, what we are to everybody that they always refer to as the above.
Right.
Right? If you can understand what we are, then you can start understanding the markets a lot better. Right?
I mean, to some degree or another, it feels logical.
Mhm.
Right? To some degree or another, if you're going to sit down and really think about the function of an economy, the function of our economy,
Mhm.
it only makes sense, right? So let me reword this. When you're looking at the charts and you're figuring out X, Y, and Z, and you say, this is the story that I see coming to us. This is what I see the future as based on, what the past has presented us with. When this event happened in the past, this is what happened, so on and so forth.
Mhm.
Right? And then you sit down and you think, okay, well, what is our economy here to do? What is money meant to be doing for us, right?
Right.
How is money supposed to be exchanged? Supposed to, in air quotes, because obviously there are different economic systems around the world, and those different economic systems operate differently, and they offer different kinds of incentives for how people use or don't use their money.
Mhm.
For our system, it only makes sense, right? When you think about, okay, those higher ups, the people that are above everyone else, have more money, have more resources, more information about the system, for example, and how
Right.
things are working. It only makes sense that things are going the direction they are.
Right. Right. And then you can start not pre-planning, but you can start seeing and forecasting what's going to happen.
Right.
So then you can be prepared.
Right.
And I can tell you right now, just over this past year, bro, there's so many unprepared people out there. They don't even know what's going to be going on.
So if you had to give people like a single tip, a single good tip to prepare themselves from what you're seeing for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, what would you tell them to do?
If you're investing into if specifically speaking, if you're investing into stocks, start really paying attention to, what goes up must come down. There's going to be a correction coming, right? If you own your house and you're considering selling it, look at the housing market in your local area, because I've been saying that the housing market is going to crash.
I would agree with you.
Right?
Right.
I have other people that are agreeing with me as well. Like, and I've said this for a year, right? So understand what you're doing with your current home, right? Understand where you're at with your job, and if anything, pick up something on the side, even if it is some form of trading, because if we haven't seen over the past year that we're just numbers, bro, unemployment skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
We're just numbers. So in this case, take the power into your own hands and develop a new skill, right? Now the pandemic was the best thing to do that in, because we were all forced to stay home.
Right.
Right? So the free ride is over. Everybody's going back to work. Now, I don't think that COVID's going anywhere, because
there's still a game to be. There's still chess moves to be made.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. There's no question to me that there's things that are coming down the line now that they've been saying Johnson & Johnson vaccines are expiring. They've got millions of doses that are expiring, and then you've got the US, who, might add, I said was going to end up being the #1 vaccine producer, and that's Moderna.
Yep.
And it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
To just give you the little bit of insight, there's a connection between Moderna and the government. That's Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci was the first CEO. Right? When you see all these connections, and I say you follow the money, you get your truths. And you see who's behind the curtain. You see that Wizard of Oz. And it's like, oh, things are very clear now.
Right.
Right? It's just a matter of time.
Right.
Now, there could be, when you see the charts, there could be 2 ways that this goes, right? It could be really bad, or, it could get worse, because, bad and worse, I don't see really anything good coming, because
I think, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, you're good.
I just feel like we're overextended. That's the only thing I was going to say.
That's the problem, though. The more overextended we are, we've all heard the phrase, the bigger you are, the harder you fall.
Right.
Right? Well, the charts, the higher it goes, the further it
can
falls,
dip. Yeah.
Right? So we're at a point, for example, I give this in the stock market specifically. In December of 2018, we had the worry that 2019 was going to be a recession.
Right.
And in December of 2018, the stock market dipped, I think, about 4,000 points. Right? It took a whole year to recover that 4,000 points. And create what would be considered at that time would be an all-time high.
Right.
Well, we know at an all-time high, things have to come back down, right? What goes up must come down. Well, then we had COVID, right? COVID, bro, COVID was a big market correction. Okay. So then you see it drop, and it dropped, what was it like? I think it was, it was it was more than 4,000 points. I think it was like maybe 10,000 points, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I say. Close to it, at least. And so, we recovered that 10,000 points in less than a year. So if it took us a year to recover 4,000 points the year before, how could it take less than a year to recover 10,000? We're way overextended.
You're just saying people were flooding. Just bullshit. There's just a bunch of bullshit getting pushed into the market to make it seem like we're doing better than we are.
We were flooding the market as far as our government. They were putting, like, they did $500 billion injections into the stock market. Right. But then you have everybody that's now buying low. Right. They're buying low, and everything's just going up, 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 up. And not just that, but the problem was we were getting free. Well, technically it's not free, but we know it is free money. Stimulus checks.
Right.
Let's talk unemployment checks, right? people were getting paid $1,200 a week in a city that I was told back in a 5-day course that I did. They were like, "Yo, people are getting paid $1,200 a week in my city." Wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
I would quit my job too.
Yeah.
Right? So when you have that and you're forcing, at that point, to me, that was a, hey, let's make the general population more reliant on our government.
Okay.
Right? They felt that they were probably losing control. Let's pull the reins back and let's make them
more reliant on us.
more controlled, like how we can control them. So introduce everything else, right? Then now people don't want to go back to work. Right? They don't want to go back to work. Now they're enforcing, was it here in Arizona, if you're at a job for 3 months or 10 weeks, you get $2,000 bonus from the state.
For working for 10 weeks?
Yeah.
If you collected unemployment. Okay. I need to get you a microphone, man.
It's crazy.
I know, for real. It's all good.
Point, though.
Yeah. Zach behind the camera is big in crypto and finance and stuff like that. He enjoys that kind of stuff a lot. So I'm sure he's itching over there to jump into the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crypto's another whole nother world, but let's continue.
So, yeah, like you just start seeing things, bro. And it's like, it gives you a whole different outlook where you're like, is this really the world that I live in?
Right. Right.
So then you really start focusing your priorities on things. My priorities are set into my family, included with my wife, which I love her to death. I got to give her a shout out. I told her to make sure, join my IG live. I'm hoping she's on here. So what's up, everybody? But sorry I had to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, she's put up with a lot. And my family that I have over at the bank zone, my guys that I used to work with in the past that I'm still together with. Shout out to my whole team over there, and shout out to my boy Mark, who me and him are running Island Vibes Academy, right?
Right.
And all we're trying to do is change lives legitimately. Provide you the skill, provide you the outlet. You decide what you want to do, right? Because there are, just to tie it all back in, there are tons of scammers out there.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people hit my line. Yo, let me let me trade $3,000 for you. Oh, invest $2,500 with me and I'll turn it into 10 grand in a couple hours trading in the Forex market. Oh, you ever heard of Forex? I'm like, yo, like these have to be bots and disrespectful ones at that, because even in my bio, I'm like Forex educator. Even though it's got Forex student, it's got educator there too. Like,
right.
Yo, I teach people to read charts. So really, why would I want you to trade money for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
here's another question. There's always those indicator scams too. Learn how to trade Forex using this one indicator and get blah, blah, blah results. What's your feeling on indicators? As someone who actually looks at some charts.
All right. So indicators can be good.
Okay.
Right? They can be good. The only problem is that a lot of them are lagging, depending on the most common ones are lagging.
Okay. Like RSIs.
Meaning that, well, indicators in the sense of like, let's say EMAs.
Okay.
Which those are exponential moving averages.
Okay.
Right? So for example, they were expecting a massive stock correction last year because 2 specific EMAs crossed. Well, unfortunately, when those crossed, it was already after the COVID drop happened because it was so intense. It was already done.
Right.
Right.
The indicators couldn't keep up.
Right.
Right.
So I go based upon naked charts.
Okay.
Right. So naked charts literally is just no indicators. I let history tell me where it's going to go, and I use price action. Right. Price action is literally where the price opens and closes at. It doesn't include, because every candlestick is going to include a wick. When you use wicks are not real prices because they're attempted prices, right?
So you're looking just at the body of the candles.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So when you go into the price action, which would be the line chart, right, which is different from the candlesticks, you eliminate all that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can use price action at that time.
Right.
And so you can see within the price action, like when you go back to the candlesticks, you can see all the games that are played, bro. Like banks are trading our money and they're taking money from us in the market too.
Right. If you guys didn't know, when you put your money in a savings account in a bank,
Yes.
why don't you tell them the rest?
Yeah,
Where's your money going in a savings account in the bank?
They've got people in a back room like myself or anybody that's rocked with me. They've got people in the back room sitting there trading for them. But they do it with small lot sizes, which lot sizes are what you value your trade at. It moves. Every time it moves in what's called a pip. What you value those pips at, that's how you get paid. Or that's how you lose money, right?
Right.
So I want to do $1 a pip, $2 a pip. These guys use like $1 per pip, but they trade hundreds or thousands of trades at a time.
So that protects them from any mass amount of volatility, right?
Well, they want the volatility. They cause the volatility because they're trading all of our money, right?
Got you.
So
Okay.
they want to push certain prices down, but they're only going to have a couple small lot sizes on the wrong way to then put more lot size, higher, maybe a little bit higher lot sizes or more trades on the right way.
That's how they make their money.
Exactly.
Right.
Meanwhile, if you get caught in that wrong way, you're losing money too.
You're going to go all
But they're
the way
going to
down.
lose money just to make it.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's how it works.
Right. And they're trading with so much money
Yeah.
that they can
all of ours.
they can figure out a way to manipulate.
All of ours.
That tells you a lot.
Yeah. But I can tell you right now that just seeing what's going on, crypto is also something that we deal with. And crypto is going to change the world. Not that that's a surprise to anybody.
Right.
But this summer, our government is going back to the lab to try and create the dollar into a digital currency.
I heard about this.
Why?
I heard about this.
Why? Because of cryptocurrency.
Right.
Right.
So what makes cryptocurrency that much more beneficial for the world than what they call fiat currencies?
Oh, well, it's not controlled. The government cannot. That's the problem right now. Government cannot control cryptocurrency.
So cryptocurrencies are, so from my understanding,
Regulated.
Right. From my understanding, a cryptocurrency is a network of computers that are all reading the same data across every single one of them. It's all it's a network of computer databases that are reading the same information on a ledger about a certain currency and where it's being traded for how much.
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay.
You can say that.
Okay.
And
Okay.
everybody wants to create a crypto these days.
A new coin, yeah. Kim
Right.
Kardashian was peddling some shit coin the other day.
Well, I was one that said, what's it called? Dogecoin was going to be shit.
Yeah.
Make your money, get in, but
Get the fuck out.
yes,
too.
get out. Have an exit strategy. When you
Right.
see a dollar amount that you haven't seen in your life,
Right.
get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get out. And it was unfortunate because everything was centered around Elon being on SNL,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And that night I went on somebody's live and he was live with somebody else sharing. I was just watching what they were saying. They're like, "Oh, 35 minutes and watch me go to the moon." I typed in the live, I was like, "Watch it go to hell." Right? And what did it do?
Yep.
That thing, I think, what was it? Dogecoin dropped 42%
Yep.
just between the show.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden the whole world started going down.
Yep.
Right? But when I sit here, a lot of people will look at that and they'll say Dogecoin dropped because Elon on SNL. No, Dogecoin didn't drop because of that.
Why did it drop?
The whole crypto world is dropping.
Why?
Because, well, and I actually was saying this too, because on the strength of the move up, right? Whatever goes up again must come down.
You're just tying it all together now.
Right?
Yeah.
And you understand what's considered as support support and resistance, right? Your floors and your ceilings,
Right.
right? So when you look at Bitcoin broke 19,600 and never retested it.
Nope.
And it went all the way up to 60K.
Right.
So prior to even that show, I was on a class one night and I said Bitcoin is going to come down to 19,600. People laughed at me. What do you think it's going to do that? What do you think it's going to do that? I said there's one thing that's going to make it drop that fast. Bank regulations.
Okay.
Then it came out that there were going to be over 100 different banks that are going to allow you to hold Bitcoin with them, like in a wallet.
I see where this is going. I see where you're going.
And that's exciting because you're like, oh my gosh, banks are involved.
Well,
I'm like, oh my gosh, banks are getting involved.
But see, this is the thing. It's
Little bit different.
exciting. It's exciting for people because they say, oh, now crypto is more easily adoptable for the masses, which means the value has to go up. Because if it's easier to access for people, then more people are going to put their money in it.
Right.
Which means that the value of it has to go up.
Agreed.
I think that's the mentality most people are in.
Agreed. But for a sharp drop like that, the only thing that could push it are banks. Banks wanting to regulate. So you can't tell me that 100 different banks that are going to allow you to hold Bitcoin are not sitting in the back room right now thinking, how are we going to screw the pooch on this one and hurt the people? Because that's all they do with our current currency. Right?
Right.
Now, I will say this. In the long run, and if I say this and it goes up, I know I'm a market mover. Dogecoin could actually be the cryptocurrency that ends up being the replacement for the US dollar if we can't do one.
Why?
Because it's the only cryptocurrency with an unlimited supply.
Fair.
When you
Fair
go onto CoinGecko and you look up Dogecoin, it's got an infinite symbol with it. And if we haven't been proven anything this year,
so we have an infinite supply of dollars.
We have an infinite supply of $1 bills.
Yeah, that's true.
Yo, 40% of our currency circulating ever. 40% of our currency was created in the past year. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. There's no demand for it. That's why the value of the dollar is just dropping. It was dying. Now it's on the way back up, right? Now it's on the way back up. If you look at it, we could go into the chart itself, but overall for the past year, we're on a very, very sharp downtrend.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So that's because when you flood the market with stimulus, unemployment, PPP loans, SBA loans, you're going to get people that are going to take it, but you're also going to get a lot of people that don't know what's going on with it, and then it's going to hurt them, right?
There are a lot of people that don't trust the economy on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could tell you there's a lot of those things right there. They didn't care about these PPP loans and SBA loans. They just wanted to get money out there because it was going to drive up the high supply. Right? Now there's things that are going to be in place where they're like, all right, you took a PPP loan, you got yourself 40 grand. Show me why you did that. If you can't prove it, guess what?
Pay it back. Give it back.
Well, there's going to be a lot of trouble people are in.
Right.
Those PPP loans were not the business. Let me tell you.
There's already been a couple cases on Google, Yahoo News, shit like that, where people are getting arrested for it. So
yep,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, yeah, and they get to monitor your taxes for 5 years to make sure that every penny is counted.
Because they want that money back in the system.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
That's why stimulus; those aren't free checks. We're going to be paying for those in taxes and everything. That's why I said so. I don't want to go down the political route right now, but this is one thing that's going to affect everybody, including traders, is that a lot of the tax plans that were put in place from the Trump administration were to help the middle class. And now Biden is getting rid of all that.
Right.
So he's going to create the divide between upper and middle class even more.
Right.
Then he announced as a trader, or even people who are going to sell their homes, right? Or if you make money where capital gains is involved, capital gains tax is at 21 point something percent. He wants to raise it to 43.8.
Yep.
You want to double what I'm going to pay you off of my earnings? Wait a minute. I just made $200,000 on my house. And you want me to pay 43% in capital gains tax? You're out of your mind, bro.
You're decentivizing people from putting their money with you. In the
exactly.
Market. Right.
Exactly. But it's all how to gain the money back.
Yeah.
It's all that fine, small print.
Right.
Right. So, like I said, it was a business, bro. This whole thing, it was crazy. It was an emotional business for a year.
It doesn't fill you with a lot of confidence, you know.
It doesn't.
To hear all this stuff doesn't make you feel nice and fuzzy inside.
No, that's why. I mean, I hate to. Yeah, and then at some point we're gonna end up having deflation.
Yeah.
What comes along with deflation?
Tell me.
A depression.
Well,
So when you look at, so when,
like, what do
so-
I say in this position? You know, you're spilling the facts.
no, what I'm trying to tell you is get back on those charts, my mans.
I might have to.
So
I might have to.
now it could always go a different way, right?
Right,
But
of course.
when you look at the charts, I can see the price of the dollar going down to 79.8. For those that don't know what that is, that means that the dollar is only going to be worth 79 cents.
Which means you literally lost 21 cents to the dollar of every dollar you own.
But on a daily basis, the dollar only moves like maybe at the most. I mean, when you're talking about, oh my gosh, that was a big move. Half a penny a day.
Yeah.
And you want to go down another, now it's up to 91 cents as of today, or almost 92.
Right.
Now you want to go down 14 more cents?
Yeah.
And we only go down half a penny a day? Like, and that's a lot?
Yeah.
Holy shit. We're on a ride down. And you can see it right on the chart. If you go, for those of y'all that are listening or on here too, y'all know that my favorite charts is the DXY. If you look at the DXY, which is the actual US dollar, you can see that it can go down to 79.8 off of the weekly chart.
And that's
it's just
test.
It's a free fall.
That's a specific level it has to go back to test.
Yep, it's a support.
So all in all, the market's trying to find some place of equilibrium, and the government's just not letting it get to that equilibrium.
Yeah, they're forcing it. Oh, my phone just died. Awesome. They're forcing it to go up right now
because they want to inspire confidence in people
in the economy.
Right.
But little do people know is that consumer confidence is down.
I would say so.
Right? Consumer confidence is down, and that showed over the past month. So there's a topic that gets read for Forex specifically. And the topic is this core price core retail sales. That's what it is. And then there's core price indicator, right? These are topics that can cause a lot of volatility towards the US dollar. And there's also what's called PPI, which includes inflation. So why I bring this up is this is how you can see where we're going. We didn't have stimulus in May, right? But we had it in April.
Okay.
Everybody got $1,400 checks in April. Right. In fact, some people, I was lucky enough, I got a second one because I claimed my mother, my elderly mother who lives with me, I claimed her as a dependent. And they sent me just a free $1,400 here. Oh, you had her in 2020. All right, cool.
Right.
All right, whatever. I can't argue with it. You sent it to me without a choice. But we had that money coming in. And it allows people to spend through that whole time. Right. So it was no surprise to me that in May, when those holders were read,
right,
core price indicator, core retail sales went up. People were spending money.
Right.
The PPI was down because inflation hadn't really taken place yet. Right. And then CPI, core price indicator, is literally just going to talk about also the spending in the economy. Right. So it was up. It was bullish. But we didn't have any of that in May. So is it any surprise that it came down?
No.
It was bearish this month.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Because now you're talking about where PPI was actually bullish, which PPI measures the price of goods and services.
Got you.
Okay?
Got you.
The price of goods and services went up. It went up 8.2%. That doesn't surprise me.
No, because they knew the money was getting pumped into the system, so people had the money to spend.
Exactly.
Right.
Oh, you want to hear something really crazy?
Let's go.
So we had this gas situation, right?
Right.
We blamed it on Russia.
Right.
A Russian hack, right?
Right. With the pipeline getting shut down, all that shit.
So it's been right, exactly. It's been rumored that inflation is going to go up 2%.
Okay.
What are the first two things to go up with inflation?
Tell me.
Food.
Okay.
And gas.
Okay.
So if that's the case, did Russia really hack us, or did we do that to ourselves?
Yeah. Yeah, again, it makes you think.
Because we needed an excuse to raise prices on gas.
And they also said there was this whole, we sent them 90 million, whatever it was, $90 million in Bitcoin. I think it was something like that to get access to the pipeline again. And then 2 weeks later,
you're really going to tell me they sent something in Bitcoin and it's just falling right now?
But so there was that, and then they said like 2 weeks later there was an article that came out that said they recovered that. somehow. They recovered, or I think the
See,
story was that the hackers left their crypto rather than putting it on like an actual wallet. They left it online in a wallet that was online and
yeah.
accessible, and that's how we got most of it back.
So they SIM swiped it then. That's what that's called. When like you're looking at a wallet on somebody's Wi-Fi
Right.
and all your stuff is gone, you've been SIM swiped.
Interesting.
You can that can happen.
Interesting.
That can happen. That's why it's if you're a crypto trader, I'd be curious how my man over here feels about it. If you're a crypto trader, you need to own all your crypto information into Blockfolio.
Okay, what is that?
And Blockfolio is the wallet that you can view all your information in,
Okay.
but it doesn't allow access to, like, let's say, Trust Wallet. So I actually have the only one that I'm in right now because of this correction, SafeMoon.
Okay.
A lot of people say it's a shit coin, like a Dogecoin, but I've done research on it, and even if it is, I didn't put a lot into it, but it has a lot of good details behind it.
You read the white pages
I
and
did
all that.
I went through everything on SafeMoon to understand what they really want to do. So I was like, cool. Put $300 in, I got 45 million tokens. What can I say?
Right.
If it goes to a penny, I'm rich.
Right.
Well, I'll feel rich at least. If it goes to a penny, I'll have 500 grand.
Right.
Almost for well, it's 50 grand, 50 million now. So if you have 500 grand. But if I'm opening my Trust Wallet, because I own it in Trust Wallet right now. If I open that and I'm on an open Wi-Fi signal, somebody can take that information from me.
Interesting.
When you're on Blockfolio, that won't happen.
Okay. I've been trying to do my own research on that kind of stuff too. Like, do you get like, I don't know what they call them, the cold wallets or whatever?
Ledgers, like a ledger?
Right.
A hardware wallet?
Right. Something like that. I've been thinking about it, but
get it directly from them though. Don't get it from Amazon.
Why is that?
Because when you get them from Amazon, there has been a lot of people that have been scammed where they'll get the wallet, and then as they put all their information in the wallet,
someone else is taking it on the backside of it.
Exactly.
Interesting. Good to know.
Exactly.
Good to know. There's a heavy tip for you. I'll probably chop that piece up into a clip just so people know.
Hey, whatever I can do to help the people.
That's
like I've always said,
information.
Like I've said, I'm here for the people.
Yeah. So okay. So you put your money on a cold wallet, whatever, on a ledger, whatever you want to call it. Your money still fluctuates with the market though, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You get to see it live.
So you can just take it straight off Coinbase and transfer with the key code or whatever into your ledger just leave it there.
Uh-huh.
And then anytime you want to buy in more, you can buy in on Coinbase, transfer whatever the purchase price was into your ledger.
Yep, exactly.
Huh. I'm going to look into that.
Exactly.
That's smart.
Yep.
That's protecting yourself.
Exactly. You don't want people taking what you're sitting here holding on to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I have a decent amount of crypto myself in a number of different cryptocurrencies.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole thought process here was I'm just going to hold what I have until like 2025 at the earliest and then reassess at that point.
Yeah.
That was kind of my initial thought process. What do you think?
It's going to be a lot sooner than 2025.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is just...
You think conditions are going to drive it?
Oh, they're going to have to, like... This is why there's so many arrows to me pointing towards the possible depression.
Right.
Right? With the US dollar going down, with cryptocurrency being in the news, with the ability of the dollar and the stock market losing value at the same time.
Right.
The only time they would ever go down for an extended time is in that type of a situation. So they'll move together, the dollar and the stock market. But it's only for probably maybe a couple hours. Other than that, they'll go the opposite way.
Okay.
So if I see that the dollar's coming down and I also see that the correction in the stock market has to happen, well, that can only point to one thing when both things are failing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it crazy how we got here?
Yeah. Well,
think about all the shit that's happened in the last couple years, last decade, that has gotten us to this point financially and federally speaking.
Well, none of it, though, is coincidence. None of it. When you look at all this stuff and you're like, wait a minute, all you got to do when you look at the charts is say, okay, this needs to go up. What's going to be the excuse to push it up? Because all news does, all the things that go on in the world that are told to us, it's out there for an emotional response, but they don't reverse like in this case, currency, that doesn't reverse currency value, right? So what I would refer to on the chart, it will cause pullbacks. It'll either cause pullbacks or continuation. It will never do an overall reversal.
Okay.
Okay. And for those that don't understand that, if you're on an uptrend, right? So you see something becoming more valuable, right? There's going to be something that's going to cause it to come back down. What is the reason that they're going to blame that pullback or retracement on?
And the reason that pullback, just let me know if I'm understanding the reason for this correctly.
Mhm.
The reason for that pullback, or the reason for them to initiate a pullback, is so that they have a cheaper price to purchase more of an appreciating asset.
That's one reason.
Okay, what other reason is
The
there?
other reason is for those that got in late. Oh, I'm on a I intraday trade, so I trade throughout each day.
So you hold things for a day or two at a time.
Right.
Okay.
So, this has gone up for 3 days, right? Do I want to buy there? No, right? Because you always want to buy low. Why would I want to buy on a high, right? I just let it go up until it comes back down, then I get into it. But you've got those people that aren't fully understanding that, and they buy because they have FOMO. They're buying at the high. So then the market's like, oh, here comes some suckers.
Let me take
Let
some
me
of their
take
money.
you all out, and then it
Mm.
comes back down. Because if you're on that trend, if it continues to just go up,
Everyone's getting rich.
everyone's getting rich. And what did I say at the beginning of this? This is to take money from us. It's not for us to make money.
Right.
The people that make money are making money only because they understand what's going on in these markets and in this economy. It's a lot deeper. Like, it's funny. Like, it's a lot deeper than you got to wake up every morning. You got to be motivated. Nah, man. Like, if you really want to be a trader, you really have to sit down and be like, I really want to do this.
You got to have some stone cold guts too to sit here and watch the shit that they're doing, or like understand the manipulation that happens and stomach it.
Well, the only people that I can inform are the people that are close to me,
Mm.
right? And I even had some people that were close to me. They're like, "Wait, you're crazy,
Right.
right?" But things are coming to fruition.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like everyone thinks you're crazy, right? Everyone thinks you're crazy when you're talking crazy, right? When you're
Mhm.
saying things that are outlandish and all that. And maybe 2 years ago I would have called you crazy. But now that the things you said 2 years ago are happening, you don't really look that crazy anymore. That's there's not a lot else to say.
Right. And this is something that can be talked about for hours.
Hours on end.
Hours.
Forever. You and I could have conversations forever.
Now we're sitting here and we can see why my free speech class lasted 4 hours that night.
Right, 100%.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I could only imagine the topics they brought up too.
Oh, it was crazy. We talked about the situation with, what was his name? Micaiah Brown?
Micaiah Bryant.
Micaiah Bryant.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We touched on that topic because it was hot at the time. We touched on Derek Chauvin in the courtroom because
Court case.
Yeah, because there's a couple things that were flying around.
A lot of people questioning the integrity of the case altogether.
Well,
It's a real question.
What could have happened, I haven't followed up ever since, but what was being threatened is that a retrial could have happened.
Right, I heard about that. From
Because-
Elizabeth Warren's comments at one point in time was what the judge said, I think.
Well, because one of the jurors lied, said that he had
Ooh.
nothing to do with any of the protests or anything like that, and pictures surfaced of him
Oh.
at the protests. So I don't know who didn't know about the situation. I mean, it's really hard not to when it's everywhere, right?
But they're trying to make sure that the people sitting on the jury don't have any
Bias.
bias
Right.
or direct influence.
Right.
Right.
So I get why they do that, but you can't tell me you can accurately find 12 people
In the US that
in the
didn't
US
know
that
about
didn't
it.
know about this.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you're
true.
crazy.
Yeah, it's true.
You're
It's true.
crazy. They put it everywhere for 3 weeks,
Agreed.
right? So
But even then, like I was saying, the integrity of the case as a whole.
Mhm.
how do you expect to have a fair trial when the media has been reporting on this topic for God knows how long? Everyone's got an opinion about it. Whatever decision you make is going to have a large impact on everybody,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's going to inspire some sort of action or reaction from either group, either side or group. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we talked about a few things because it's supposed to stir that emotion.
yeah,
So we can get that emotion out, and then you can go clear conscious back onto the charts and practice.
right,
Right.
right,
But also still again feel like you're not being judged for having your opinion.
right.
So I love everybody that I come in contact with that actually reciprocate. I love everybody that I work with, from my colleagues down to the people that trust me with the information that I give to them.
Right.
Right. I treat everybody as if they're family to me. And there's a reason for that. And that's because if you're going to trust in me for the time that I spend on the online on the web, on the net, online to find this information or do my research however I need to, and you're going to trust me with all that, that means a lot, you
Yeah.
know? But there's not many people, and I think that's the downside for individuals like myself that are trying to honestly do something. When you've got 9 out of 10 people that are scamming the situation,
It's easy to get
bro, I'm the
lost.
1 out of 10
Yeah.
that's like, how do you trust that one person when I've been wrong 9 times?
Right. Well, a lot of the time too, I'll relate that back to this podcast, for example.
Mhm.
I'll watch a lot of shows that go on YouTube and online and this, that, and the other. And you'll see people on social media start saying shit like, oh, don't trust the mass media. Don't go watching CNN and Fox. I agree. Fair enough. What you're seeing on YouTube from a lot of large creators, huge creators, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
It's the same shit. They're telling you the same shit. They're all playing a narrative too.
Oh, yeah.
It's very, very, very difficult, no matter what the platform is, whether it's YouTube or national television, to find someone who's not biased, who's honest, and who's having a critical conversation with you about the facts of the situation, as well as like, this is my opinion based on what I'm seeing. What do you see? What is your opinion and why?
Mhm.
That doesn't happen often.
Nope, it definitely
Doesn't matter where you're watching.
Exactly, exactly. And that's why I say go watch all that.
Yeah.
Go watch all of it, please.
See if you can call out the bias.
Exactly. If you can sit there and say, well, that sounds weird, start reading between the lines on certain things of what's being given to you. Don't take anything for face value.
Right.
Start looking at like CNN and what they're telling you. Why are they showing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again?
Right.
Right? Because repetition gets you to be conditioned.
Right.
Right? So it's funny because, well, I'll touch on this for a second. It's something small, but I feel like it's a lot bigger, and that's the mask situation.
The what?
The mask situation.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I think we agree on this too, but go ahead.
So I had COVID.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll tell you, it wasn't fun,
Right.
but I'm still here, right? Now, for you to tell me the mask isn't for me, it's for you, right? It's to protect you from me. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. Because if I choose not to wear one, like, really, you're going to put yourself into that position to have to wear one? You're wearing one because you choose to. Either way, you're choosing to put that on. But you've been programmed. That's something that was told at the beginning. Don't wear it for yourself. Wear it for your
other
fellow
people.
person, right? It's not about that. Like, it spreads regardless. It spreads. My wife, she works at Intel, and she didn't catch it for a while, but they didn't allow to wear masks, and they were good for a while up until when they had it, people kept getting it for
Yeah.
months on end,
Right.
right? And I'm like, so what good did the mask do? First, they didn't make you wear it until it was like 3 months into the whole thing. Now they're making you wear it, and everybody is still getting it. So what the hell's the point? Well, they had to follow in line with government requirements, but I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, like look into the details of these masks. Like the molecule is so small it can still get through.
That was, well, yeah. I mean, wasn't it in the Fauci emails too? Where they're talking about particle size and how
Yeah.
your basic mask isn't
Yeah.
going to do anything for you.
Yeah. It had to be an N95 at first, right?
My dad's a doctor.
Uh-huh.
He said this like in March. He's like, none of those masks are going to work. You have to get an N95. And he had stacks of them in the house because he's a doctor.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again,
Yeah, it had to be the
it's
N95 ones, right?
it's performative.
Right. So, and besides all that, here's the problem that I have with this whole situation.
Right.
9 out of 10 people aren't even doing it correctly.
Got it under your nose and like,
No, it's even going to the point of people that have come up to me and have questioned me, they're wearing the same mask that they wore from a week ago.
right.
Right? So here's the proper procedure, and I would be curious if your dad would be like, "Yep, he's right." Right? And that is you wash your hands in warm water for 40 seconds. Right? The only thing you touch are the strings that you put behind your ears. Once that mask is on, you do not touch it at all until you need to change it. And when you change it, you throw that one away and you go through the process all over again.
That's the point of having a sterile mask. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So you've got people that are making fashionable masks.
Well, here I was wearing the same paper thin mask every day for fucking 6 months.
Yeah.
What else is there to say?
Right. Exactly. So it's
Yeah.
like, why you're gonna now there's fashion masks. Like they got them in Circle K, bro.
Louis Vuitton has them. Gucci has them.
Yeah, they even got knockoff ones, right? $5 at the kiosk in the mall.
Right.
Right? But here's the thing, it became part of fashion. It became part of the norm. And how long does it take for a habit to be formed?
Like 30, 45 days, something
90.
like that. 90 days. There you go.
We had 4 times that amount.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And if we've already not had bad enough division between minorities within color of black and white, and then we've got division between religions, we've got division between sexes, we've got division between
Political
finances,
parties.
we've got financial differences, we've got political differences. Oh, let's add mask and no mask.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's stir the pot a little bit more.
I was told this joke one time. What is if our government had to do math, what is his favorite math type?
What?
Division.
Even Zach's over there laughing at that one.
It's division. Right?
Oh.
So
Why?
well, because to divide is to conquer. And that's again
Taking the words out of my mouth.
this-
And it plays into the Forex topic as well.
Exactly. This is why I urge people and why I say it's up to us. It's up to you, me, him, her, everybody that I work with, right? It's up to us to get people to understand or at least take in the opportunity to say this is a possibility.
Right.
That just because our government says it doesn't mean that it's true.
Right.
Could it be? At least ask that question to yourself. You don't have to follow what I say,
Right.
but
At least consider the possibility.
at least if the possibility is there, you could only be 99.9% right because that possibility leaves that 0.1,
Right.
right?
Right.
At least there's, it was like Dumb and Dumber. At least there's, or you're saying I have a chance,
Yeah. Right.
even though it was 1 in a billion,
Right.
right?
Or what was it? Avengers? He was like 14,604,000.
Yeah.
And there's only one.
Yeah.
And that's the one that worked out.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like as long as you can open your mind and why it's so important for me to create free thinkers or at least tap into that side of people's brains,
Right.
bro, it's a world of understanding that you never thought. But like I said, there are Pandora's boxes that are going to be opened along the way.
They do say ignorance is bliss, and in many ways it is.
Oh, I will be the first one to tell you that, like I said at the beginning, there's a few boxes that I wish I'd have kept closed.
Yeah.
But I opened them up. I know what's inside, and I can see why ignorance is bliss.
Now you got to contend with those ideas.
Right, but I'm in the position where fundamentals is my strength anyway,
Mhm.
right? So when fundamentals is my strength, and I can take, if you know, on my platform, people are like, how do I get to be as fundamentally sound as you? Well, it took me about a good 3 years. And any of the sacrifices that I had, the work that I put into this, I said, but there are times where it can hinder my trading because I'm forced to stay out of a trade and not go with my gut because of the fact that I'm like, well, this is coming up fundamentally. So could it be pushed down a little further? Am I going to look for that buy yet? No.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, the chart goes up.
Right.
And I'm like, damn, I should just trust in my gut. I don't want that for people. I want people to be fundamentally sound to make their own decisions without input from the TV or from the government or outside sources. Make your own decisions. Free think for yourself. But don't do it so much that it's going to hinder your next steps in trading.
Keep yourself grounded is what he's saying.
Right. So I tell people, let me stay in the fundamentals so you don't have to.
And you learn the technicals, know
right.
what you're looking
Learn
at
the technicals first. I'll teach you the fundamentals as you go. Once you master the technicals, the fundamentals just fall in line.
Right. It's like the extra boost.
Right. Because then you're like, okay, I see this coming up. It needs to pull back. All fundamentals is the label of that pullback.
What caused it?
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's an excuse. I call them excuses.
Yeah.
That's it. Fundamentals only do two things. They cause continuation or pullbacks. They don't reverse the market.
Interesting. Always go with the trend.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Trend is
I
your
still
friend.
know a thing or two. I still remember
the trend
a thing
is your
or two.
friend.
That's
my
true.
friend.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, man. I don't want to keep you here much longer. I don't even know how long we've been here. Let me check my phone.
Like I said, we could be talking about this.
We
for
could
hours,
go on forever. We've been here for a cool minute, as is.
Yeah.
Do you have any other pressing topics on your mind? I don't want to like rush you out. You know what I mean?
No, I mean it's just good to talk with you, bro. So
I feel you.
This is your platform. So whatever you felt would have been valuable, that's what I want to bring to the table, my man.
This has been more than valuable. I'll tell you that much. I'll tell you, I definitely think like a title, something like "The Truth About Forex" is definitely in order with this kind of a video.
The only thing I will tell you, there are times I am afraid that it's not the UPS or the Amazon door at my front door. Sometimes I worry, is it going to be the feds?
Oh,
well, because we used to have the podcast that I did back in the day.
Right.
And a lot of these topics we talked about. Now, they were all speculation at the time. Now it's a little more deeper where it's like, okay, now I'm seeing a little more clarity where it's coming. It's not about if it's going to happen. It's just about when.
Right.
Right. So, and there were a lot of speculations back then that weren't even correct. Right. So some of our podcasts even had false information, but that's where we were at the time.
Right.
We reacted to what we were given. But even then, with some of those details, I'm like, holy shit.
You're kind of too spot on with a few of them.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I don't mind giving the information out if it helps people to understand a little more. I mean, that's the hard thing, is that you can't find somebody that's going to give you the sauce, right? And that's another reason why there's not a lot of successful people out there. I will tell you this: if you're looking to become a trader, people go from academy or trader to trader to learn from mentor to mentor because what? They want to learn their strategy. The best strategy for you is the one you create, because we can see the market in the same moves, but I might see something just a little bit differently than you, where your entry might have been a lot better than mine. I might have been too early, or I might have been too late, where you were right on time. Or I could be in the whole wrong trade to begin with, right? So you take the tools, you take the confluences that you get, and you make your own strategy that works for you.
Fair enough.
So consider that. If for anybody that's considering trading, think about that before you start joining academy after academy after academy. I would love to have anybody in that's listening and that's watching this to follow me in one of my two. But if not, that's fine. I just encourage anybody to do something besides rely on their job, because job stands for just over broke.
Yeah.
They're never going to pay you what you're actually worth.
Yeah.
So in a market that can have endless opportunities for finances, why not?
Yeah. And I mean, just to clear things up, man, I didn't bring him on here so that we could get you involved with Forex.
Right.
He's not here for that reason either. He's not here to push any of the platforms he works for.
Nope.
He genuinely came on because we wanted to talk about the state of the Forex community, the state of finances in the United States as it is right now, and in the world. Obviously, Forex involves all different kinds of markets.
Yep.
And because, there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of propaganda about Forex, about trading, about all this stuff on the internet. There's more than enough of that, right? It's only right that I bring someone on who I trust, genuinely as a person, to come on and talk about their experiences. That's why he's here. So if you do take interest from what he's been saying about this, I would say definitely go check out his stuff. But just know that's not the reason for this video at all.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And this isn't something that I am encouraging anybody to get into. I said encourage to do something outside of their job that they're going to love to do, because it might be something they're going to need to fall on. It might be knitting. It might be landscaping. It might be home design. It might be just do something for yourself. The best time to become an entrepreneur is right now.
Yeah.
Right? Free think for yourself. Free think for what you really are going to be happy with and go after it.
Right.
Because at that point, the only person that's really going to pay you for your worth is going to be you.
Right.
That's it.
Agreed. All right, man. I'm not going to hold you on, out here too much longer. You got a camera right there. I always like to just give my guests the floor, whether you have a message for people you want to tell them, whether you have something you want to promote, whatever it is, man, floor is all yours.
Well, I don't necessarily want to, promote anything. I mean, you guys know where you can find me. The only thing is, like, if you want to find me individually, I'm only on Instagram right now. So Instagram is Michael Franz 0726. Give me a follow, DM me if you want. If you have any questions, I got you. I'll message anybody who messages me back. As far as for people, we're getting into, as far as like a message to people, we're getting into a time right now that defensiveness is not the best way to go. We need to put our differences aside. I said this a little earlier, but we need to put our differences aside, look at each other, and work with each other. Because on a chessboard, a pawn is the pawn, right? Whether you're on one side of the chessboard, all those pawns are the same color, right? So we need to have faith in each other. We need to start trusting in each other, open up to each other, because we've got to a point where communication has been completely gone left.
Yep.
Blame text messages, blame social media, blame everything, right? But open up, don't be defensive. Let's talk, let's have these conversations, and let's get to a better place. Let's control that as people rather than wait for somebody to do it for us. Take action. Don't sit around.
I agree, man. I agree wholeheartedly. Thank you, Michael, for coming on.
Thank you, Pima. I
Thank
appreciate
you for spending time. I appreciate you more, man. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. We've got more amazing content just like we just had with Michael here. So make sure to hit the subscribe button. Check out the Patreon link down below. Check out the clothing link down below if you want to support us in any way at all. Those are the two best ways to do it right now. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace out.